presentation here for a little bit, and I'm going to first talk about the history of the Flower of Life very quickly, and it's not going to be a long, drawn-out thing. We're talking about like 10 minutes here, and just about, I think, 8 slides or 9 slides. And I'm doing this because the background needs to be laid down. I'm sure that there are people in the audience that have no idea what the Flower of Life is or what that information was. And the context of that is important relative to what we're about to talk about. And also the people who will be seeing this video, there's bound to be many of those that have no idea about this at all. So we're going to start in there. And since late 84, early 85, until the middle of 1994, for almost 10 years, a presentation was given around the world called The Flower of Life, which is this workshop that was given. It was given orally, so we didn't publish out anything. It was only given orally. And then at one point, this workshop was turned over to facilitators, other people who were trained to give this, and they went out to the world. There's somewhere around 300 facilitators in the world, and they're in at least, the last count, about 33 countries. And it's continuing to grow, probably because there's something real here. And usually, if it isn't, people don't look at it after a while. And for a long time, I said I was going to put this into a book, which took 5 years. A little slow, but I was very busy. And that has finally happened. This is the cover of the new book that just came out about 3 months ago, called The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life. And it's volume 1, and it is just the beginning. It's about just a little less than half of the information. And the real important information is not in there yet. It's being timed on volume 2, which will come out right before the end of this year, right before the year 2000. Everything is timing in this world. And so that should come out. It won't take 5 years this time, I don't think. And now what this information is around, what it's all about. Why is it any different than any other information? Why do people care about this? It's because many years ago, we discovered something in Egypt, on one of the oldest walls in Egypt. In fact, one of the oldest walls in the world in our civilization. This wall is about roughly 6,000 years old, and there was burned into this wall was an etching of a design, you might say. And this design looked like this. And as this design unfolded in my life, I began to understand what the name was that was given to it by many of the ancient races around the world. And most of them called it the Flower of Life. We first found this in Egypt, but since then we found it, I think after that was in England and in Ireland, and then in Israel, and then in Greece, then in Turkey, and in Switzerland, and in Iceland, and in Japan, in China, in Tibet. Recently, we've even found it in the Yucatan and Chichen Itza from the Mayans. It was pretty well dispersed all over the world, and there's about, I don't know, another 8 or 9 places I'm not saying right now. And so why was this same design so important to the ancient peoples all over the world? At least that was the question I asked myself. And I spent a long time decoding what this meant. With the help of the angelic realms, and certain other people and teachers and beings from around the world to help me to understand what this really was. And the final bottom line of it is what the ancients believed was this was the absolute key to the entire creation, that there was absolutely nothing in existence, no word you can say, no concept or thought that you could put out, or even a feeling, that isn't entirely and completely identified within here. Every law of physics, every structural pattern known in the universe. Every single thing, including biological life forms and the very shape of them and the color of their eyes and how they're formed, everything, it's all in there. And you can prove it. It's not just maybe it's in there. It's absolutely in there. And what unfolded from all of this was something that's now being called sacred geometry. All of sacred geometry and all levels of existence of sacred geometry are contained totally within that one image right now. And sacred geometry is the underlying forms and patterns and proportions that everything is created through. The interesting thing about it is that you, as a human being, have that pattern around you. From, if you were to look above or from below you, you have a spherical one of these located directly around you in an electromagnetic field. This magnetic field, electromagnetic field is contained primarily in the microwave range and sits at about 4 degrees Kelvin, which is about 4 degrees above absolute zero. You can scientifically prove it's there if you have the correct instruments. But in that outer field of the flower of life, three-dimensionally, so each one of those are not circles but spheres, there are many, many, many shapes and forms that are contained within there, which contain within them all the levels of consciousness in existence. So you are a seed that contains all possibilities without exception. I was recently in the Yucatan with a Mayan shaman named Hunzbatsman doing ceremony, and while we were there was a man that you do know more, Edgar Mitchell, who was one of the astronauts who landed on the moon, and he was talking about the new science that is emerging in NASA. And as some of you may know, the relativity as presented out by Einstein and the quantum physics, quantum mechanics that emerged later in that never really fit together. There were many little points and places that were incongruent. And the search for the unified field theory has been going on for years and years and years. Many people claiming they found it. But NASA is now claiming they have found it. And Edgar said that to try to understand what has happened over the last few years is almost impossible by normal human ways of looking at things. That we have evolved very, very quickly over the last 5 years. He said that in the last 5 years, NASA has learned as much as entire civilization of the planet has learned in the last 6,000 years. And that they have learned as much in the last 6 months as they've learned in the last 5 years. And that was about 7 months ago, so who knows where they are now. It's a straight up curve. And what they have found is that the human body is a holographic image of the entire creation of the universe. And that we live in a hologram. We literally live in a hologram. That any object, whether it's a beer can or a car or our human body, is a piece of this hologram that the universe is, and that just as in a hologram, if you take a photograph of a hologram and you rip off a little piece of it, it contains the image of the whole thing, even though you just ripped off a little piece of it. Well, your body, your physical body, is the same way. You are a hologram of everything. The location of Sirius and the entire star pattern out in space and everything that's out there can be determined from your body. And not only outer space and the depths of the macrocosm, but the same way on the microcosm going in. All of that is all contained within you, within your physical body. Your physical body contains this. And not only does it do that, but there's a reverse of it. Your physical body may be sitting in this room, but NASA says that it can be located anywhere in space or time. That you exist everywhere at once through time and space at the same moment. That's hard to imagine, But this is how the new science is perceiving the reality that we live in.